Hello and welcome to my little games room once again. Now, in my previous video I looked at some promotional VHS tapes that were given away in retail stores, on magazines, sometimes shipped direct to gamers, and basically they included gameplay footage, sometimes reviews, advertising. It was a way to directly communicate with the gamers way before we had YouTube and the like. Another way that people would communicate with their customer base was comic books. Now, for me, comic books and games have always been connected. There's kind of a crossover there. People that read comics generally do play games and vice versa in a lot of cases. Now, this one in particular is from the 80s, and this was around the time of the Nintendo Entertainment System. So, inside there are very, very interesting, well, I hope they're going to be interesting, advertisements for NES games. So let's take a look at the first one. So, at the time, obviously Michael Jordan and Larry Bird were big basketball stars. Michael Jordan, of course, known the world over, so there was going to be several games with Jordan and Bird. I think there are a couple. This is one of them. So this was published by Milton Bradley, MB. Obviously, I don't think MB are in games anymore. They also did some things with the Vectrex, I'm sure. Now, this card, they say, features 3 exciting games. A one-on-one with Jordan and Bird, Michael Jordan's slam dunk contest, because obviously Michael Jordan known for his famous dunking, and then Larry Bird's three-point shootout. I'm guessing Larry Bird was a big three-point guy. I don't really know, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. You can see the kind of the 80s, early 80s styling of these guys going on, and I'm not particularly happy with this cover. It's okay, it does the job. It says Jordan versus Bird. So next up, we have a game which is very dear to my heart. Let me just very carefully peel this off. Now, this game is Operation Wolf. I have memories of this on holiday. We used to go to Mallorca when I was a kid, and one year we went to a resort and they had an Operation Wolf arcade machine. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are too young to remember, or if you do remember, but the Operation Wolf arcade machine was 2 big Uzis. It was immense. It was the best thing. I mean, at this time you had like Rambo, Commando, all those sort of films, and that was really playing on that, and it had the Uzis that they had in the films, and it was awesome. It had the red button on the side for the grenades, and really good trigger, really good. So they ported it to the NES, I think also to the Master System and a few home computers, but this particular one, this advert from Taito is for the NES. Take no prisoners, Operation Wolf for your Nintendo Entertainment System. So there's also a little slogan here, which we'll see on a couple of other adverts, is say rap, say Taito, say yo. So love the 90s kind of chewed attitude that they've got going on there. A little bit faded now, this advert, but still looking good. So what do we have next? So, just peel this off carefully again. So we have another advert from Taito, another one of their arcade conversions, and a hell of a lot of games were getting converted from the arcades to the home consoles as we saw the decline of the arcade market during the 80s and the early 90s. But here we have Bubble Bobble. Really good game, kind of single screen platform game, vertical I think, and you had to bubble the guys up and then pop them. And here we have the say rap, say Taito, say yo. I sound so cool when I'm doing that. But another little slogan they've got here is Bubble Bobble is dynamite. Did you see what they did there? Very, very, very clever there, Taito. Nice one. So moving swiftly on, Capcom, one of my favourite, in fact probably my most favourite developer of all time, again with some 90s attitude. Get set for radical action, cowabunga dude. So yeah, they just really awesome games Capcom released at the time. Mega Man 2, one of the best games of all time. I'm sure it's in the top 10 lists of so many people. And then Strider. I haven't actually played the NES version of Strider. Most people probably know it for the Genesis and the arcade version, but still an amazing game. If anyone knows what that version's like on the NES, then do let me know. Next up, I thought this one was really interesting. So quite often in comic books they would put in advertising comics or advercomics or whatever they call them, and this one's for a remote control, an infrared control for the NES by Acclaim. I didn't know that Acclaim did any peripherals until I actually saw this. Until I saw this in this comic. So he basically gets all tangled up in his wires. He gets in a massive electric shock or something, and he gets his power pad appears from nowhere. He shoots Hulk Hogan in the face, then jumps on a helicopter, then kills a dragon, and then he's really chuffed about all of that. But yeah, you can see a couple of games there. Airwolf, Iron Sword, I think that is, was kind of a Conan rip-off, and WrestleMania. So what else do we have in here? Another Capcom advertisement, this time for the absolute classic Bionic Commando. Bionic Commando had a really cool mechanic where you couldn't jump, you only had your kind of your chain that you could shoot out and pull yourself up. So instead of radical power, which we saw in the other, we have experience, bionic power, which I don't know, we could go on forever debating which is better, radical or bionic powers, but for me, I'm probably a bionic kind of guy. So yeah, nice little artwork again, this kind of strange Capcom artwork. I mean, not as bad as Mega Man 1, but still pretty good, and always with the Nintendo seal of approval. Aha, now, this one is a little bit strange. I'm going to peel this off very carefully. I don't want to ruin this magazine, so comic book rather. So, absolutely a rip-off of Alien. I mean, what is that? That's a xenomorph, yeah? They just don't have the snake or whatever it is shooting out of its mouth. So yeah, definitely a rip-off of Alien. But this was for Star Soldier. I mean, again for the Nintendo, it got a seal of approval from Nintendo, so it must be good. Watch out for the high scores contest. Yeah, that was a big thing back in the day. I mean, we didn't have online scores, we didn't have achievements, so there were national high scores. You could enter your high scores into comic books and gaming magazines, sweepstake prizes, anything they could do to generate interest for the game. But I mean, for me, this artwork is just abysmal. You know, when you compare it to the comic on this side, which has some, you know, pretty decent artwork for the time, and then you're looking at this, I mean, this isn't even MS Paint standard. I mean, this is done in, it looks like my daughter did it, and she's 2. More comic. Right, now this is interesting. Again, a lot of wrestling games at the time. Wrestling was a really big thing back then. I mean, it still is, but WCW was still a thing. And here we have the Legion of Doom. What a rush! I apologise, that was the worst impersonation of the Legion of Rush ever. Please send your Legion of Rush, Legion of Rush? Legion of Doom. Legion of Doom. But anyway, be a video warrior. So, half decent artwork on these guys. I can't remember their exact names. I remember one of them's dead, and I think one of them, I remember, I can't remember which SummerSlam it was, but they came down to the ring in a big silver motorbike, which I thought was really cool at the time. So this is WCW World Championship Wrestling on the NES. There were a lot of wrestling games on the NES, and this particular one I think was okay. I think I have it on a Famicom card actually, and maybe we'll check that out in a future video. So finally, saving the best to last, in the back of the magazine, I thought this was very, very interesting. But just first of all, before we look at this, which you can probably see is a tiger, you can see here, get this up close, the X-Men all dolled up in their Christmas hats and whatnot. Wolverine looks very happy about that, and Uncanny Xmas savings. And then you would generally, this is how you would order your magazines and videos back in the day. You didn't do it online. You had to cut it out of the magazine, and thankfully no one's done it on this one. You cut it out of the magazine or the comic, obviously, in this case. But here we have the final advertisement. Now, this is on the back page. Normally back page advertisements are the most expensive, and this one is in full colour. Again, more expensive than doing it in black and white. So obviously Tiger had a lot of money kicking around at this time. Again, we got a Jordan versus Bird. I mean, those guys must have been creaming in the advertising revenue at the time. But absolutely, I mean, I can't think of anyone that didn't have a bloody Taito machine at the time. I mean, LCD games were just all over the place. We've also got Simon's Quest, which is Castlevania 2, Gauntlet, another great game, a 4-player game, arcade game, Double Dragon. I actually had this one, and I used to think it was great at the time. It was obviously pretty terrible. But all in all, I think the Tiger machines, they did really well for Tiger. They got a little bit too big for the boots when they released the Gamecom. I don't have a Gamecom. I think they're absolutely terrible. I might have to get one just for collector's sake. But yeah, so I hope you found this this little video interesting. I have more comic books for us to do in the future, including Deathstroke, the Terminator, who's my favourite, Lethal Legion, some Dark Reign from Marvel, and many others with lots of other advertisements in. And if you're interested, we can take a look at those also. And if you have any magazines or comic books or books even that have old advertisements in, it would be nice to take a look at them. And I will also be archiving these, scanning them in, and putting them on my Facebook page, which is Mike's Game Room. So all the best. Thank you very much. Till next time.